Rachel Omonigo, showcasing what she and her friends called tie-up. The tie-up is their way of covering their stained sky blue skirt when their red flower shows while in school. According to Omonigo, the tie-up shield them from shame and embarrassment of being stained with menstrual flow in school. These are female students of Junior Secondary School Peggy Layout, Kuje Area Council, a mixed school with over 400 female students. These girls said whenever their monthly cycle comes while they are in school, it subjects them to embarrassment and fear of teasing related to menstruation. This, together with menstrual pain and lack of effective materials for menstrual hygiene management, leads to school absenteeism, hence impeding the academic performance.
With that sweater when I do menstruation because of our school does not have pad, and when things started, some people you will not be able to hold it just like that without tying sweater. So that is how we also have sweater in our bag. Anytime the thing started, you can be able to tie it.
When I'm in school and my menstruation starts, it doesn't really used to be a very nice experience because I used to actually feel pain, like a lot of pain, my stomach, and it's as if my stomach will be rumbling, and whenever it starts, like when it's dropping, I actually used to feel pain a lot and it used to rush. So in the day I can use like 3 parts, morning, afternoon, and in the night when I want to sleep, and mostly in the night it used to rush very, very well. I don't feel comfortable in school because like the way I used to be effective when it has not started, that's not the way I'm going to be. My school has never given us a pad because normally in the school we don't have pads. Like there's even one of this, my friend, every time our own period will also start, me too, it will start almost the same time, and then when anytime we need pads, there's no way we get pads, and we just have to be managing anything we want to do. And that's why most of the time I used to put cardigan in my bag, and sometimes I used to put spare pads like 2 or 1 so that in case it starts, that one is going to hold me till I reach home and change.
And it was on Friday, so I was just like, I will always check back of my gown so that it's not stain, so that because if it's stained I will have to use sweater, and my sweater was at home, so I was always checking back of my gown because there was no toilet to go and change, because they're like the toilet is not well kept, it's not very clean, so we cannot go there to check, because some people even say that if you go there and you want to change, that it can even cause infection.
If the G&C is here, you need to coordinate the guests. It's only we tell them about their menstrual period, about their way to behave in the community or in our society. When you are getting to mature age, what you not supposed to do, what you supposed to do as a girl. We still need government help on this. In my former school, they used to supply us always. Maybe it's because of the area council. Like airport now, they used to give us, and we keep it. Even teachers, some teacher immediately when you see your visitor, you are not planning for it. Most of the people we used to come at any time. When it's coming out like this, you go to the staff room and go and pick one. You go to the toilet and pack yourself. But here, nothing like that.
As narrated, the monthly flow menstruation has now become a key factor associated with school attendance among girls. Period poverty is the reason 24% of Nigerian girls miss classes during their menstruation cycle. This is due to their inability to afford hygienic menstrual products. Using unhygienic options not only endangers Nigerian girls physically, but also threatens their concentration in school. It also heightens anxiety as they approach their cycle.
Join us as we examine issues of corruption affecting the standard of education in public schools in the Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria, at all levels of education, and the impact on the girl and boy child, people living with disabilities, women, and youth in general. Join Leaves on Worms on AD4 TV Radio, where government strategies on these critical areas and their impact on the lives of residents of the territory are x-rayed. Stay tuned on our channels weekly for this revealing program, jointly produced by AD4 TV Radio and Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism and supported by MacArthur Foundation.
We love AD4 TV Radio. Lack of separate toilet for girls and boys is among the top barriers to girls' education. Conversations with stakeholders reveal that when a girl reaches puberty, access to a separate toilet can be the decisive factor of whether she continues with her education. When girls are menstruating, they need access to a water point and to have a place where they can dispose of their parts. Without this, girls may miss up to 5 days of school every month, or worse, drop out of school completely. Juliet Sule further attests to these claims.
Go to school where the thing that is spoiled too much, I will stop to school. Because of so then the thing to know disgrace me. Because of the messes. That's why sometimes I will stop the school because of where the thing is rushing. That's why I will stop school small because of the messes. So that let the thing to know disgrace me in school. That's why. It's not affect my class, it just miss things. But you know, say go in market here yourself. The same thing when the team is coming, I cannot come to market because of when the team come. People will be telling me, Madam, your clothes have stained, your clothes have stained. That's why sometimes I will not come until I see it finished before I will come to school. I can use, no, it's not part, it's pieces as I use it. Because if I don't have money for part, that's why I think nobody is helping me, so it's pieces as I use it.
Wanda suke yi za su share za su iya sa wando su sa sai su sa pants.
More than 37 million girls in Nigeria cannot afford menstrual hygiene product. This means every month, these girls are unable to safely manage their periods, limiting their ability to study and attend schools like their male counterparts. While this is an unfortunate situation that has become normal in Nigeria, it still doesn't make the situation less alarming across schools in the area councils of the Federal Capital Territory. Consequently, soaring prices of sanitary towel in the last few years have forced girls to cheaper and unhygienic options such as rags, toilet paper, and old newspapers. AD4 TV Radio's visits to Junior Secondary School Peggy Layout Kuje revealed how the challenge of period poverty keeps students out of class sessions. Experts say failure of the government to meet the needs of the girl child in schools is an infringement of the right of the girl child to education.
If I'm on my heavy flow, then I usually get stained easily. So I tend not to go to school and rather stay at home. At least let me not, because in school you get criticized for things like that. Like if you stand up and your skirt is stained, then you know everybody's eyes is on you and all that. So prefer to not be embarrassed like that.
Have you been embarrassed before?
Yes, once in school. It was also my messes. So I didn't know it was coming and I wasn't prepared for it. And I was in the class, so I think a teacher called me. So I stood up and then my seatmate was like, your skirt is stained, and I felt so embarrassed because then if I walked, my skirt would be, everybody would notice me and all that. So I was feeling, dejected.
Yeah. When you talked about wash facility, it cut across the globe. It's no longer the north now. Before when we talked about issue of insecurity, we concentrated in the north. But now, it's widespread all over the country. Now, the impact is, one, inadequate wash facility, especially for the girl child, put them off from coming to school. In a school, especially the public school. That is where our concentration lies. Now, the public school where no separate toilet for the girls or separate toilet for the boys. Most of these girls, during their monthly cycle, they decided to stay at home because they can't come to school knowing fully well that they cannot have the enabling environment to be able to take care of themselves. Equally the boys. So it's a very big challenge. And although we will not say the government is not really trying, they are really trying, but our major problem is need a very, very drastic approach.
When you take a trip, just 20, 30, 40, 50 kilometer trip away from the capital, what you see is dilapidated building. Sometimes this building, there are no roof, no access to wash facilities, so no toilets, no water. So what it means is if there's a girl going to that school, anytime she's on her menses, she would lose 3 to 6 days important class. So for me, my assessment is basic education is not doing well. Today, that's why you have parents not even sending their kids or their wards to public primary school. When you look at data, states are accessing this money, but when you go on the ground, the releases is not commiserable to what you find on the ground. For me, 1, corruption is a big part of what is responsible. 2 is the fact that nobody is looking at the implication of the fact that we're not investing in Nigeria's future.
I really think that government should be able to provide, because I'm in a government school. I'm sure the school won't have unless the government provides for them. So I think if they are able to provide and the school has it down, and then such situation arises, the child can be able to, get the items she needs to clean up herself. And also, I think they should encourage more of these programs of coming to talk to the student girls about their menstrual hygiene. They should also educate boys on it, because sometimes you feel embarrassed about it, or if the guys find out they are on, they make you feel. So I think they should be able to, tell them that they shouldn't stigmatize us for this. Like, it's part of us. It's a natural occurrence, So in this kind of situation, they should help out and not make us feel bad for it.
The absence of wash facilities in our schools is, in a way, has put girls at disadvantage. So a lot of girls, when they are menstruating, they tend to stay out of school. I know there's this data that says 1 in 9 girls in sub-Saharan Africa miss school every month as a result of menstruation. And in a survey that my organization conducted, Teenage Network conducted in 2018, we discovered that in the FCT, 1 in 7 girls miss classes every month because of menstruation. So, and which is not supposed to be so, because menstruation is normal physiological, process that a lady or a girl undergoes. But we're in a situation where there's no water in our schools for them to wash and clean themselves. There are inadequate toilets, there are inadequate places for them to dispose, used pads and all of that. Girls tend to stay away from school when they are on their period. And again, this is in addition to the stigmatization that comes with menstruation, where there are a lot of myths that are being nurtured or spread within our schools that makes girls, feel uncomfortable and feel inadequate whenever they are menstruating. Those are the reasons why, girls miss out of schools.
Ku kasance tare da mu yayin da muke tattaunawa kan yadda matsalolin cin hanci da rashawa ya dabaibaye ingancin ilimi a makarantun gwamnati da ke birnin tarayya Abuja da ma Najeriya a matakan ilimi daban-daban, tasirin ilimin ga 'ya'ya mata da maza da ma masu bukata ta musamman, mata da matasa ma ba a bar su a baya ba. Kasance da kafar AD4 TV Radio don ilmantuwa kan manufofin gwamnati, tsare-tsare da ma yadda matakan aiwatar da su ke tasiri ko akasin haka. Yin tankaɗe da riraya na daga cikin abubuwan da muke baiwa muhimmanci. Ku tabbatar kun kasance da tashar mu ta AD4 TV Radio a kowane mako don sauraron wannan shiri. Bisa ɗaukar nauyin AD4 TV Radio da cibiyar Wole Soyinka da ke tallafawa binciken injin da tallafawar gidauniyar Makata.
Menstruation is a necessity. It's like a monthly ritual, whereas a majority of our young girls and women they'd like access to sanitary pads, which is necessary for optimal health, which is necessary for, especially for young girls who are in schools. You know, they have to go to school, they have to have that confidence. We want people to see, especially government, especially the other stakeholders, to begin to look inward and see that this is an area of intervention. We want our girls, for instance, in this school that we are, to have a corner where they want to have their menstruation. They can go there and pick a refill of their pads. We want, like the Ministry of Women Affairs said, a menstrual sanitary pad bank, where we have enough pads, available for a lot of young girls to access.
The state of clean wash facilities in the schools poses more challenges to the female students in what is expected to be a conducive learning environment.
Young girls, especially in school and out school children, they need education on menstruation, because there's a lot of stigma attached with it. Many people need to know that menstruation is a normal cycle for its productive stage of a woman. Okay, so the young girls need to understand this knowledge. The men also need to understand this knowledge. Both parents have to understand this knowledge. When is it coming, and when it comes, what are they supposed to do? And so all these stigma should be go apart, and especially with the hygienic part. Because you will see it is one of the sources of infection. Genitourinary tract infection on young girls usually commence from the toilet and usually commence from the menstruation.
Nigeria say they want to end open defecation in 2030. So what it means is, if you want to end open defecation, it means public facilities. That's primary school, secondary school, university, hospitals, marketplace, you would have wash facilities, so access to water and then toilet. And then you would work with builders and planners to ensure every household have, even if it's the traditional pit toilet, so they don't do short put. But then you go to schools, a place of learning and excellence. There's no toilet. There's no access to water. I'm exposed to a case where a girl was raped when she went to school just because she wanted to use a toilet and there was no toilet, so she had to go inside the bush and then she was raped. I'm also exposed to a case where some schools that even have toilets, there's no separation. So there's no female toilet and there's no male toilet, where some boys in that school raped a girl inside the toilet because there was no separation. So it's just as if we're not serious, because you can't say you want to tackle open defecation and you're building school, you're not integrating water, you're not integrating toilets. Is it animals that you're building the schools for? Even animals use, they excuse themselves and excrete. So it's just, we're not serious. I hope that we would undertake a detailed assessment of the state of public primary schools in Nigeria.
Education Chief Laban Onesimus with the Plan International speaks on the present condition of girls in schools across area councils of the Federal Capital Territory.
Now that is one. The commonest one we try to look at has to do with the issue of toilets in school. You go to schools, you see toilets everywhere, and they are not designated between male and female, particularly in primary schools. Now, this is like gender sensitive, but it's not actually a transformative. Yeah. So for us, these are some of those nitty-gritties that we see. Now, gender responsive goes beyond the issue of gender parity. Gender parity has to do with equal number of boys and girls in school. Now the question is, and so what? If you have equal number of boys and girls in the school, and so what if the condition of that girl that is in that school is not favorable for her? So that is where the transformation comes in. Yeah. I'm sure in the FCT and in the country as a whole, we have achieved this level of parity. So you go to schools. In fact, there are some schools, when you go, you have more girls in that school as compared to boys. Yes. So we have achieved gender parity. But one thing that we are struggling with has to do with the issue of gender responsive. How do this high number of girls that are in school now, how are they learning? What is the current condition that they are in while learning is taking place?
Onesimus further identified the missing gap of deliberacy in budgetary allocation to cater for such challenges facing the retention of the girl child in schools.
Usually when you talk about gender responsive education sector planning, and just like the word is gender responsive planning, I think it starts from having an understanding what that thing is all about. And let me give you an example from one of the simplest thing. Pick a budget of education for, let's say, 2024, not only in the FCT but in any states. Do you have provision for sanitary for girls in the school? If that is missing, then that is where the gap is. So it's as simple as that. So for us in plan, these are some of those nitty-gritty that we look at.
We talked about wash facility. It cut across the globe. It's no longer the north now. You know, before when we talked about issue of insecurity, we concentrated in the north. But now, it's widespread all over the country. Now, the impact is, one, inadequate wash facility, especially for the girl child, put them off from coming to school. In a school, especially the public school, that is where our concentration lies. Now, the public school where no separate toilet for the girls or separate toilet for the boys. Most of these girls, during their monthly cycle, they decided to stay at home because they can't come to school knowing fully well that they cannot have the enabling environment to be able to take care of themselves. Equally the boys. So it's a very big challenge. And although we will not say government is not really trying, they are really trying, but our major problem is the transparent.
Onesimus insisted that menstrual hygiene should not be a luxury or hindrance to the education of the girl child.
Yes. You know, in this world that we live, you know you can give condom for free. And sanitary towels you need to buy. Yes. So is it possible? How much is a sanitary pad? 300, 250. Can the government make provision for that? If a government technocrat is thinking that way, then that means the person is gender responsive when it comes to thinking around the issue of planning.
Junior Secondary School 3 student Aisha Bello shared with the AD4 TV radio crew on the most basic need of the girl child in schools when she's within her menstrual cycle.
I'll need some Omo, detergent, sanitary towel, sanitary pad, and good clean water. Most times you go to the toilet, you see some defecates, you see some people urine and they did not flush. Sometimes you see the menstrual flow of blood on the floor sometimes.
The question remains, who provides these items? Experts say policymakers in the post-basic education subsector of the Federal Capital Territory are to be held accountable on the provision of free access to menstrual product for schoolgirls in the FCT, thereby upholding their right to education.